Hi, I'm Marilyn McPhie, and I have a story for you. Lately, I've been thinking a lot about mothers and mothering, and I've been thinking about my own mother. She was born in 1914 in a one-room rock house that was built out of rock that her father had quarried from the land that they were homesteading. The house was and still is miles from anywhere. My grandfather's job took him away from the house for weeks at a time, and my grandmother Amanda was left there with her children, a son, 3, a daughter, 2, and my mother, a baby. I cannot imagine how she did it. The laundry, the meals, and the water. Of course, there was no running water in the rock house, and there was not a well outside either. So when my grandmother needed water, she had to hitch the horse to the wagon, load up the empty water barrels and the children, and set off to get the water. It took hours. Can you imagine? By contrast, my own life seems luxurious and trouble free. But every mother has challenges, and this is one of mine. I call it cough medicine 3 a.m. Every mother of small children hopes that the hour of 3 a.m. will come and go and no one will even notice because everyone in the household will be fast asleep. And I was fast asleep when I realized that there was someone standing in the doorway of the bedroom. And I heard a plaintive voice call out, "Mommy, I can't sleep. I'm coughing." Well, of course, I was hoping it was just a dream, but I gradually realized that it was all too real. It was my daughter, Elizabeth, age 5. "Mommy." I struggled to open one eye. Scientists have studied sleep cycles, REMs, and the valleys and plateaus of sleep. I must have been in the very bottom of the deepest valley because anything was a struggle. "What, Elizabeth?" "Mommy." I began to realize that I was going to have to fix things. I was the adult after all. A 5-year-old can't be responsible for her own medication. It did occur to me to nudge my husband and say, "Your turn." But he'd been up late on a work project and he was so sound asleep, and I at least had one eye open. "I'll be right there, sweetie." And I struggled to pull myself out of bed, to open the other eye, and to walk into the kitchen. I had to, of course, brace myself with one hand on the wall just to keep my balance. When I got to the kitchen, there was Elizabeth sitting on the bench by the kitchen table, patiently waiting for me to get the medicine to calm her cough. I went to the cabinet where we keep the medicines, and I pulled out the orange liquid, cough syrup for children. I'd used it before. I knew that it would calm her cough, and I knew that it would clear up her stuffy nose, and I was pretty sure that there was some other magic ingredient that would help her to sleep. Then I reached into the utensil drawer for a spoon, and I walked over to Elizabeth, and this is where I hoped that muscle memory would take over. I'd dispensed this liquid before. I knew that it was just a quick down and up of my wrist, the perfect dose. And so I put my wrist on autopilot, down, up. But it took a second to realize that there was something wrong. Elizabeth wasn't taking the medicine. And there on the kitchen table was a quarter-sized puddle of orange liquid. Why? I tried to focus. I looked down and I finally realized that what I was holding in my hand, what I'd gotten out of the utensil drawer, was not a spoon, but a fork. So I had poured the cough medicine into the fork, and of course it had dripped down through the tines and onto the kitchen table. I could see that, but I couldn't exactly figure out what to do about it. I looked at my daughter, I looked at the medicine, I looked at the fork, I looked back at the medicine. Clearly something had to be done, but I was confused. For her part, my daughter looked at me and then down at the medicine and then back up at me. And then she leaned over, licked the medicine off the table, and went back to bed. And I stumbled back to bed too, feeling very grateful that my child at age 5 had been able to figure out better than her mother, who was an actual adult, exactly what the problem was and how she could make it all better. Cough medicine, 3 a.m.